There we go. Alright, make sure this is actually on. Hold on. Okay. One's on. Making sure since I streamed the sit down previously, which is fine. Alright. So, a lot of things to go over. For the moment, I am going to... setting things up, so don't mind me. Alright. Oh wow. Yeah. More people subscribe to me now. Take it. Go. Alrighty. Okay. That's good to go. Alrighty.
My demons are quiet here. Mostly.
Good lord, we have so many caches. Actually clean out my inventory. So that's good. There we go. Alright. So let's do this. Second. Okay. Check this out. Alrighty. What is this? No rest for the wicked hotfix. Sorry, I'm going over some other stuff. Don't mind the beginning of this stream. When was it hotfix? Oh, that was April 24th. Not relevant. Just sure. Don't need that junk. Alrighty. Let's go over some things for the PTR. I didn't want to actually get into the Path of Exile just yet because I'm going to have to download the PTR. I want to go through that. Yeah. Agree with that. Blizzard, you hear us, right? Like this may just turn into a logical debate between those on the forum, to be honest. Because of various people voicing their opinions about the PTR changes that are coming season 14. Obviously nothing's quite set in stone, numbers can be tweaked, things can be around, that's not a big issue. It's, you know... Now, is anything major gonna change? Probably not, but how it goes sometimes. Oh, hold on a second. Let's do this. Sorry. There we go. Alright, we're gonna do that instead. Alright. Sorry. Anybody watching me on Twitch, obviously you're not going to see this, but it is what it is at the moment. My bad. Oh, don't. It's one so people think that was yeah, no, that's fine. We're gonna delete that. Delete that. Broadcasting. Hold on a second. Yeah. All right. Okay. There it goes. Doing some weird dungeon dominion Zagrat. Come. Go with that, why not? Alright. So let's dive into PTR changes. Go to the news section of Diablo. What is this? Finally, took long enough. Oh, nice. Gem strength. I believe, didn't they say they were taking that out? Something along those lines. Let's see. So if we're going over everything, I have a post up on forums for anybody interested on exactly what they said during the sit down itself. Gem strength. Here we go. Do you feel cube crafting hit the mark that you were going for? Do you plan on adding more crafting options for the future? The answer was honestly, yeah. In the big picture, I'm really happy where the cube landed. I love the community reception that people are playing around with it. I like that people have figured out the little tricks and interactions with the crafting system. I think that's all very cool. Obviously, there's some stuff that has been busted with the cube, people hacking and crafting literally impossible items. Gem strength bonus is a clear outlier. It was never intended to be that strong. It was never intended to scale with two-handers. We fixed that in Season 14, so hopefully there's no major outliers in power and people aren't doing really awful game loops to try and hit gem strength bonuses and not unmodifiable at the same time and hating their own lives for it. What do we got? Damn, gem strength 200% on a two-hander. Jeez. Yeah, that's just insane. I got a maximum life, almost 12,000 maximum life on a damn grandfather. Yeah. It's definitely discussed in this Discord sit down. The other part of the question, yes, we are obviously adding more crafting options in the future. We obviously just added more stuff in Season 14. You can expect the cube to be a platform for more crafting stuff. Sure. So that'll be a big change. I don't think there should be giant outliers personally, between classes or anything else. Just me. But yeah. But yeah, best in slot items is what they're trying to get away from. Yeah. I saw 228% multiplier gems and then that sum by a... Right. Yeah, gem strength is just dumb. Yeah, I think overall itemization changes like coming up. The mythic changes were, and they had an idea for it before Lord of Hatred came out, personally speaking. Whether or not it was completely fleshed out before Lord of Hatred is, you know, not quite seen, but it's clear that they had an idea going into it, more than likely to change them, because they knew of the problem of mythics being the only viable option for builds, especially specific mythics. You know, Air of Perdition was almost always on there. Shadowfall's Death was on there. Obviously, they nerfed that. And that was nerfed in the beginning of Lord of Hatred. What is this? Arcane skills, interesting. The duration, step. Very nice. I'm at 53 ranks. What am I at? I'm at... Not horrible. Yeah. Either way. All good. But yeah, just things were going. Let's see what's the thing. So we got the patch notes up, we got various things coming across. We'll just go through this one by one. Season 14 will now have ruptures. Asunder by arcane rifts called Pandemonium Ruptures. These rifts call a new family of monsters to slay, the chance to summon a familiar boss, and new opportunities for loot by conquering the Death Toll Chamber. In development content not final. Encounter 3 types of Pandemonium rifts. Kill the guardians around Death's Hand idols. Cares about the longer you keep the rupture open, the more rewards you'll earn. Killing monsters and closing tears will help keep it open. Rupture goblins can also appear anywhere, opening additional ruptures. There's going to be rupture goblins as well. I didn't remember reading on that, but I mostly skimmed this. Ruptures, normal small ruptures can spawn throughout the overworld of Sanctuary, but are especially prevalent in Helltides. Surging ruptures or medium ruptures can spawn in place of any local event within Helltide, so go to a local event, potentially find one. Large ruptures appear only in the fields of desecration. The world boss arena southeast in Urban Z, so same place that we fought. What's his name? I'll be like right down here. Realmwalker 2.0. Realmwalkers will have reappeared, summoned to challenge those brave, foolhardy enough. Tackle the most difficult Pandemonium ruptures, completing different types of Pandemonium. Give the following chances to summon a Realmwalker. Normal ruptures cannot summon a Realmwalker. Surging ruptures give a chance to spawn a Realmwalker when surging rupture events are completed with mastery within the time allotted. Colossal ruptures guarantee a Realmwalker spawn when completed. And that's the one at Zarbinzet, so down here is where they're going to constantly be spawning, which makes sense. Conquering the Realmwalker opens a portal to the Death Toll Chamber. Death Toll Chamber is a one-room mini-dungeon, accessible either by defeating the Realmwalker or inside a nightmare dungeon with a Rupture affix. After closing enough tears within ruptures, once inside, complete a special Rupture activity and more. Death Toll Chamber Be the best source for Betrayer's Husks, which are required to open the seasonal lair boss's horde in Torment 1 boss. Got it. Alright. Don't mind me. I'm having some yogurt. Yes, I can. Kind of a little hungry, but not horribly hungry. So, excuse me for just a second. Dark Citadel. I've run it plenty of times, but I don't know. May or may not be bugged. Not entirely sure. That's fine. Let's see. New monster family, the Risen. Brave Hounds, members of the new Risen monster family, now appear out of ruptures and inside the Death Toll chamber. When killed, the Grave Hounds drop orbs that empower the Exarch. A special Risen that absorbs any orbs that float toward it. Intercept them before they arrive to claim the power yourself. Interesting. Seasonal lair boss is a Reaper who kind of looks like Illidan, to be fair. Got like the giant horns coming out. They got the wings on the back. They got the blades on the hands. I mean, not the dual blades, but I mean close enough. Interesting. New boss enters the fray to terrorize the denizens of Sanctuary, strike them down with fury. Find a corrupted Reaper lair boss in Pandemonium Threshold's entrance and sharpens it. During the PTR, you will be able to face this boss once you Torment 1. After Season 14 launches, the seasonal lair boss will become available through the season campaign. Boss requires Betrayer's Husks to open the rewards cache. It will also give the best direct drop chances for Mythic Uniques and Mythic Unique upgrade currency any other activity. Got it. Okay. Mythic Uniques 3.0. This was very misleading. But now that I'm looking at it, it actually makes sense. The screenshots that they showed don't show the 30% power increase very well. Especially on like 2 different ones, but it does show that the stats are maxed out on the unit itself for being Mythic Uniques. So similar to they called Primal Ancestrals or Ancestral Primals in Diablo 3. Similar to that, where if you got the item, it maxed out the stats completely. What was great about that was if you re-rolled an affix on it, it would automatically max it out as well. Diablo 3. And you could craft one just like you could in Diablo 3, and then you could wear other ones. Yeah. That I do remember. What is this? Weird. Anyway. Yeah, it shows intelligence, maximum life, shadow damage, and lightning resist. All of them are maxed. They're not greater affixes, but they are maxed for their rolls. So if it's 100 out of 120, it's always going to be 101. Similar to the max life, whatever you have. So, I mean, that'll be nice, in a sense. Let's see. Mythic, instead of being an item rarity, is now a modifiable item quality. So basically we're going to have common, magical, rare, legendary. And then it kind of stops there, because then you have unique, which is its own thing. And then mythic unique is what a unique upgrade into. You're not going to be able to take a legendary and turn it into a mythic, but you will be able to turn a unique into a mythic. As weird as that sounds. They really needed to come up with like a different name, because this is going to be confusing for people. I can already see it. Calling them mythic uniques, and then they're calling the old mythic uniques iconic mythic uniques, and it's one of those things where it gets convoluted in the process. There was another season that did this, and I forget what the item was, but it was like just confusing. It's like chaos something, and I think there was a chaos tribute, if I remember correctly, which was confusing with the other chaos tribute. It was just bizarre. Seal of Severed Fingers getting changed in the PTR as well. This is going to be 3 unique charms instead of, and cannot have more than 5 sockets. Is actually going away. So it's just going to be you can equip 3 unique charms. So, and it should be a 6 slot if I remember. You can have 3 uniques and then 3 of a set. I'm not entirely sure you would ever want 3 of a set, to be fair. Usually it's the 5 set that gives you what you want. The 3 set is usually for defensive purposes. Not that it's not good, but typically what you want is the damage out of the 5 set. That's the whole point of the 5 set. Don't mind me. Yeah, it's gonna be a little weird. Alright. What else are we going over? Acquire seasonal currency called Pandemonium Fragments by processing through the seasonal reputation board or defeating the new lair boss. Seasonal currency is a component in upgrading uniques to mythic unique using the Herodic Cube. Seasonal currency can also be earned from the season reputation board, resplendent caches, and from killing the seasonal lair boss. Chance to earn a mythic unique by defeating the season lair boss Corrupted Reaper. Progress to the season rank to earn a class specific mythic unique. Again, the wording on that is annoying. On both seasonal and eternal realms, you'll have a very rare chance to find a mythic unique, ancestral unique up. Now, you can only equip 1 crafted mythic. If you find multiple mythics the typical way through rare drops in game, you'll be able to still equip multiple with your 1 crafted mythic unique. God. Tower and leaderboards beta rewards. It says Tower and leaderboards are finally coming out of beta in season 14. Still unavailable. 6/4, huh? That is next week Thursday. Okay, so they've taken it down for a whole week, which is fine. You're actually going to get some rewards here going out of beta for season 9s were updated. They're going to have some additional things going on. Be nice. There's going to be new plans for like they're going to have escalation nightmare dungeon nodes as well as different Helltide nodes. So they mentioned longer Helltide nodes. So like this one is a regular Helltide node where you're just gathering, you know, you just have to open up two tortured gifts. And then I think the other one they mentioned something along the lines of getting so many cinders or whatever in order to complete it. But obviously you're going to stay in the Helltide a little bit longer to complete that, which would give you a reason to actually spend points in your Helltides. Like for me, for example, if you ever wanted the 666 Aberrant Cinder chest, you wouldn't stay long enough if all you're getting is 2 chests opened. It's kind of pointless. You're not staying long enough to actually take advantage of this because you just want to get them done, go on to the next thing in your list, and so on and so on. But that's how it goes. So that's going to change a little bit. Also giving more base experience per activity, which will just multiply every torment level you go up. And then the base experience for activities that take longer, Infernal Hordes, longer Hell Tides, Escalation Dungeons are obviously going to get a boost based on, because they take longer to do. Obviously the shorter ones being like the layer bosses, maybe a pit, things like that. Regular Nightmare Dungeons don't take horribly long. Undercity doesn't take horribly long. So those will probably relatively stay the same with a small experience boost, obviously. I really wish they pushed more into either changing it to allow a little bit more customization or allow us to go into the activities outside of the war plan, so that way and get more experience for the activity outside of the war plan itself. Give us 33%, a third of the percent you would get from doing it through a war plan instead, and I think that would be much better, because sometimes you just want to run the pit multiple times in a row, but if your war plan doesn't even allow it because you're going through other things, like this war plan right here, I have one pit option, and I'd have to go out of my way to get it if I wanted to go down like this route. You know, so it's not great sometimes. I mean, other times you'll have like 3 pits. You'll have like a pit here, and then like a pit down here if you're lucky. But even then, you can't bank on it. So that'll be interesting. New party option, which will be nice. So there'll be a new party option for war plans. You can actually sync up your war plans with your party members. So as soon as you go in, the leader of the group will have like an extra button or something. Party must all be in Themis. Prompt new plan will only appear if you are in party. If you select new plan for party, so there might be a new button, or it might be the same button, just says new plan for party. That's 2 marks of Eldruin. When selected, the party will see that a member of the party has initiated the vote to reroll all war plan boards and sync them. All players except the person who initiated the vote resets their board, and that exact one is then pushed down to the players. See. When selected, the party will see that a member of their party, so it sounds like anybody in the party can prompt it for theirs. So obviously you get in a group, you tell everybody what yours is, and you pick the best one between all of you, and then they can hit the button. So it's not just the party leader, it sounds like. Plans are synced regardless of war plan level or other states. Tournament level, campaign completion. Yeah. So that's cool. Project Cube updates. Obviously unique items can now use the focus reroll and chaotic reroll. That'll be huge. What is that? Inequality 13. Wait. Dude forgot to transfigure his His amulet. Ouch. Yeah. He completely forgot to transfigure his amulet with another aspect. Either he didn't realize he could, or he just forgot. Which sucks if that's the case. Yeah, I mean, it does happen. Yeah. Because, I mean, even on mine, it's not great, but it's something. You know. And I could have kept re-rolling it, but it's not really that big of a deal. 900. Solo self-found mode's finally coming. Should be great. Obviously. I know people have been looking forward to that for a good while. Definitely something to look out for. Checking if you... Yeah, Solo Self-Found's coming with Season 14. It's going to be seasonal only, so internal players will not be able to have access to it. Must be seasonal only. They can still be either normal or hardcore, obviously. Solo Self characters cannot join parties or trade with other players. Solo Self-Found share their own stash, currency, paragon, and more. Only with other Solo Self-Found characters on their account. So if you make multiple Solo Self-Found characters, you're going to share all of the materials, stash tabs, and stuff with each other. Obviously, if you make a non-Solo Self-Found character, all of this stuff won't cross over to paragon, your completion, that kind of stuff. I wonder if the seasonal objectives will still cross over to it, you know? Because seasonal objectives, for the most part, don't cross over. I mean, they cross over into... If I made a hardcore character, this would still be available if I remember correctly. Let me try this real quick. We're just going to make a test character. Let's see. Character. Let's do a set here. Playing a lot. It's fine. Campaigns. Start with the story completed and jump into endgame content. That's fine. Amended. Good. Let's do a hardcore. HC. Best. Do that. We'll start on normal, obviously. If character dies, it can't be revived. That's perfectly fine. Don't care. I wanted... If I remember last time I did this, it shared seasonal stuff. The hardcore character. If I remember correctly. Speed learn. Wait, I made this seasonal, right? No, I did, yeah. Yeah, you can see it here. I even have access to this stuff on seasonal for my hardcore character, which is kind of weird. You know? So, it gave me tempering recipes, which is bizarre. Like, just right off the bat, I got tempering recipes that are collected. Yeah, I've got all my realm power stuff. You know. Just strange, to say the least, for a hardcore character. Yeah, all this is completed for me. I have my ashes. Okay. Let's see. Collections. Codex of Power. Got temp bees, yeah. I mean, granted, they're all magical ones, but still. Kind of weird, huh? Yeah. Basically, when you're done with the seasonal and softcore, you come over to hardcore and you have things waiting for you to get yourself a head start in hardcore if you wanted to. Not gonna do that, but I was curious. So I'm curious if Solar Self-Found would be the same way. I would imagine it'd probably be exactly the same, to be fair. Okay, just gonna erase this one. See, test. Get rid of that. Just return the game. There's nothing in the shop, right? That I need?
Salutations, Wanderer.
I hope not.
Come and don the mantle of history's champion.
Hey, Vanilla, no, I'm not doing hardcore. I was checking something. Oh. As it goes. I like the succubus look. I think that actually looks really good. Is this Warlock only? The tail is amazing. Those wings look really cool too. There's no way to... modify preview. On. Ooh. Okay. So they're allowing us to see it in different dyes. That looks cool. I like the green. See what we got. That's not bad. I like spotted wings. Cinder. Brown, interesting. Let's see. What about Fireglass? I don't notice the... oh, the teal's more on the horns up at the top, on a little bit on the edges. It's like, where's the teal? Sunset. Not bad. Ooh, red. Red looks good. It's the natural. More dark. Yeah, the natural color actually looks really good. Nice blue. Let's go with black. I think I really like the original color of this, to be honest. Yeah, I really like that color scheme. Very cool. Not that I would pay for this, but you know what? I'm not against it. Oh, is that the tattoo? Let's see, but there we go. Oh, looks kind of... thought there was something on the chest, but I guess it's just that pentagram necklace, so to speak. Alright, it's fine. Very nice. Excuse me. Look at that sexy man bod, right? Nice dagger. I like the way this whole set looks as a succubus. Soul-stained succubus. Really nice. Tattoos line up nicely with in between the spots of where the armor like isn't. The legs here that lines up like perfectly with the rim of the armor on the legs. That looks good. Giggity. I'm just looking through cosmetics. Obviously, I would never buy these. Not when they cost 26 bucks. It's like, dude, are you kidding me? Oh. Really? 25 bucks for Lily the pet? You gotta be kidding me. 1200 for a... 12 bucks for a horse. Is the pet 25 bucks, but the horse is 12? Makes no sense. 28 bucks for the extremely flamboyant peacock. Yeah, Lily the pet should not be 25 bucks. I'm sorry. Meanwhile, you have this horse over here for 5 bucks. It's more reasonable. You love the T2 WoW Pally armor, but not, yeah, exactly. Then you have the fortunate finds here, which lower them to 14 bucks, 15, 60, 10.50 for weapons. That's still $22.50. Come on, dude. The Mega Bundle Warcraft Collection is $57 to buy the whole bundle. And it's quote-unquote 74% off. Give me a break. You guys knew what you were doing with that bundle. Let's see. Where's the Warlock one? Oh, Nemesis. Oh my god. I remember that set. It's horrible. That is so horrible. Hail Rider. 10 Storms. Bloodfang armor, that's hilarious. Another one, Regalia, those arcane mages, or what the hell they were called. Yeah, Paladin armor looks sick. God, I remember these. I remember these in the game. Now that's a cool pet. For 28 bucks it's not, but that is a cool mount, excuse me. I would love that mount, that looks amazing. But again, not for... Look at this, the Ragnarok pet. 25 bucks. The Raven Lord pet, 28 bucks. Warlock pet, 25 bucks. Wing cosmetics, 20 bucks, along with some other cosmetics with it. Oh, that's the Warlock staff. I think I had that at one point, look kind of like a Zergling. On the end of it, I think I remember having that. Armaments of Azeroth. And then you got the StarCraft Legends ones. Like, I love the StarCraft ones too. I would love to have a Hydralisk pet, but I'm not paying 25 bucks for it, I'm sorry. I would love to have the Zergling mount, but again, I'm not paying 28 bucks. Queen of Blades for sure. Really don't have a Nova one. Mega bundles are discounted. Interesting. Even discounted, I wouldn't buy any of these. Unconfessor, that... Honestly, that looks pretty cool. Hold on, we gotta check this one. I mean, look how cool that looks. It's literally got demon heads on chains attached to your shoulders. Not a fan of the helmet. And the gold trim isn't what I want, but we can do this. Let's see. It's natural color. Let's see if we get something better. And the head is changed with color scheme. You can get like a nice red type. This is a nice yellow. Coral, more of a pink. Oh, she has assless chaps. I was like, wait, those are her butt cheeks. See, that's not bad. I like that color scheme, but I'm a fan of Sunrise. Purple's pretty cool looking. Not gonna lie, it looks better. Take what your mama gave you, right? Let's see. See, this needs to be darker. Like, the gray, I think, needs to be darker. We need a black option, not a gray option. But there's no actual black option. Orange. I love me some orange, although it looks more brown. with orange highlights. Or a very dark orange, which, I mean, technically brown is a dark orange. Or is orange a light brown? Either way. Canopy, nice green. I think I like the more saturated green for the heads. Like if that kept a darker look and kept those heads, it would look better. Royal Mariner. It's not bad. I could dig that. Sunset. It's not horrible. Fireglass. Fireglass looks good, but where's the red? Must have a prominent red somewhere. Definitely don't see... Oh, on the trim here? Yeah, it's literally on the trim, but you can't even see it too well. Definitely not on the chest piece. It's only on this... I don't know what the hell this is called on this particular breast piece. I don't know, the butt flaps. I don't know what the hell it's called. Let's see. Fireglass. Bone. Ooh, I kind of like the color scheme of the skulls attached. I'm not really a big fan of the main color scheme of the clothing, but I do like how the skulls are colored. Red. It's fine, and then blue. Blue's not bad. I can get behind those. I do like that. Fancy looking sword and a mace. Along with... Oh, you can't... Again, you can't see it. This is what I don't like about the, the tattoos. Like, look at how cool this tattoo looks, but then you go to a female, obviously. It's obviously covered up on the chest, because they can't show the chest, but, you know. You got a swirl here literally on the pec of the dude with legs coming down. And you have it on the back here. Like, this looks cool. It's got chains coming out of the, it's like, Visto? Then you go to her, and she's got the sports bra on, which covers up half of it. Not that you would see it in game either. That's the worst part about these cosmetics. Like, you literally have to play naked in order to see the tattoos on you, and it just beats the whole purpose. Yeah, you give us this amazing armor, and you literally can't see the tattoo cosmetic except on the... You can see it on the leg. Put it here, yeah, you can barely see it though. It barely inches out on this leg piece. There's nothing on the ass. It barely peeks out on the chest here. And a little bit on the back if you're wearing the whole thing, but... Yeah, it's just... It defeats the purpose of having a tattoo. Get it? Eyeballs is cool. Spectral... It looks like something more of a necromancer rather than a warlock, but I'm cool. Ben Sashka. Fine. See, you got some paladin ones here. Sins of Wanton Delights. Gonna become a sexy sister for the Covenant. Interesting. Spirit born. And Sins of Agony for the Spiritborn. I hate to say it, but the bikini part on the bottom just looks like a diaper. Oh, it's more like a... Yeah. Not as attractive, for sure. But I mean, it is. picture does not do it. Like, this looks better in game right here than it does on the picture. The picture just makes it look like she's literally wearing Depends. A leather diaper Depends. It's horrible. That's cool. Oh, that's really cool. Like the goblin hoard piece or whatever. Looks like the goblin treasure bag on the back. It is kind of cool. I do like that. That it's barbarian only. Druid. Interesting. Necromancer. That is cool. The bloody whetstones. Check that out. Does it... Oh, it doesn't. I thought it might twirl. Like spin. That would be even cooler. Started grinding away. Is the Pain's release? Ooh. Get back in my body. Damn soul try to exit me. That is pretty cool. I like that. The oh, Iron Maiden. Nice. I mean, how cool is that? I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty cool emote. Wink. If this thing had a spinning animation, I think it'd be much better. It's only 500, that's not bad. Although wait, you can't... Or is it the whole bundle's 500? Whole bundle's 500, that's not horrible actually. So $5. Cure of Contempt. Interesting. Quality Manifest. Not really a big fan of that. Quiet of the Grave. Not really a big fan either. Is there... Let's see. There's an emote with this one too. Okay. Leoric, I knew thee well. Alright. There should be another emote with this one. There we got. Bonecaster. That is the weakest one of all three of them, in my opinion. Best one, in my opinion, is the one that's exploding through your chest, trying to get out from you. Alrighty. Let's see. What else are we going? Shadows of... Okay. Thing. Sork. The lovely butterfly. Bounce, which... Oh, Lord. You want to be a pretty princess with... Literally, it's called Little Lady. Yeah, no thanks. Golden horned unicorn. Blood and Bone. That actually looks... This one looks kind of cool. I can get behind this. Lovely. Giant heart encased in bone. It's called Soul Laid Bare, Scepter of Heartfire. Okay. Anyway. Well, we turn to get out of the shop before we entice people to buy things they shouldn't be buying. Huge changes coming in Season 14, by the way. If you haven't watched the videos or anything. Didn't send... Oh, weird. Didn't send your message in YouTube, I don't know why. Although I have noticed YouTube being inconsistent at times. But, yeah, if you haven't watched the stuff Shimada, they came out with the new stuff that's coming in Season 14. Someone mooing. A lot of changes coming for sure. Uniques are getting big changes. you can now put them in the cube and use chaotic and focused reroll on them to make it, to give you possibly the affixes that you want. There's also going to be, this is going to be confusing as hell, but there's going to be mythic uniques. That's what I'm calling them. So what they're going to be doing is taking the current uniques, or mythic uniques. So your lovely purple items, they are nerfing the crap out of most of them. In fact, maybe all of them, to bring them on par with the new mythic uniques. What they mean by that is you're going to have uniques drop now, such as, say for example, the Hemet Stone, or whatever unique you want to use. And you're going to be able to either have it drop as a mythic unique, or you can craft it into a mythic unique. And what that means is it's another tier up from unique to mythic unique status. I know it sounds confusing, but what this does is it maxes out all the rolls on the affixes themselves, and it gives a 30% increase to the aspect power. So on this particular amulet, my willpower would be maxed at 180, life would be maxed at 2200, damage over time multiplier would be 60%, resource cost reduction would be 7%, and then the bonus ritual is 30%. It would get a 30% boost of that for its aspect power. So 36, like 36% max? No, 39. And then math. Like 39%, almost 40%, essentially, for an extra bonus for the aspect power, which will be nice. And then regular mythics, like these purple ones, are getting huge nerfs across the board and changed for technically I would say the better, because you shouldn't have items that are just clearly best in slot that are so common to the point where they're just stupid easy to get, but that's my opinion on it. So people are going to have to actually think about how they want to build now. Obviously, if you follow a guide, it's not really going to matter too much, but if you tweak it based on a guide, which is what I typically do, you can have some different options. So that'll be fun. But the old mythic uniques, which now they're calling iconic mythic uniques, will not be cubable, I think. So, heads up. So, they're also bringing back, let me see where... Solo Self-Found is coming. So if you're interested in that, you can do that. Mostly for leaderboard stuff or integrity or whatever. Maybe an option, which basically means you cannot group, cannot trade. You have everything separated on that partition of your characters, so obviously you won't have access to the stash tab of a normal character that's on softcore, seasonal. Any solo characters you make will have access to their partition of stuff, so if you make multiple solo self-found characters, they all share stash tabs and all the materials, but otherwise nothing else. The Dark Citadel is obviously removed from solo self-found because you need a group to go do it. It says the free trial, couch co-op, and Dark Citadel are unavailable for solo self-found characters. It's also seasonal only. You cannot play solo self-found on Eternal. Once the season is over, the solo self-found characters are to Eternal characters with the ability to trade again as normal. So, there you go. Obviously, there's going to be a different leaderboard for solo self-found for those who are interested. You can do hardcore or softcore modes. Oh, this one you'll probably love. Yeah, they did that with hardcore WoW, right? Except with WoW, you can still group. This one you can't. However, you will be able to see people in the open world. They can't take that out. So you just can't group with them, but you will see people, you won't be soloing world bosses by yourself in solo self-found, for example, or in Helltides by yourself for that matter. So only the open world stuff, anything that's instant, you cannot group. So you're going to be solo for the pits, nightmare dungeons, infernal hordes, all that crap. This one's a big one, which I know you'll like and everybody else will like. Oval caps are now increased to 25,000 instead of 2,500. It's now going to be 25,000 for the ovals. That one's huge. That one's coming in Season 14. Which I am all for. You hit the cap of 25,000, good lord, can you imagine? Going through the purveyor of curiosities and just constantly spending your ovals. 25,000, you would fill up so many times, but gonna be an option. What else did they add? Added missing boss trophy items for Astroth and Bartok and combined recipes for them in the Herodric Cube, which is super nice. Apparently they were supposed to have boss trophy items, and they didn't. So, war plans are changing for the better. There's going to be a party option for war plans. So, you go to the war plan thing. As a party, you discuss what each of you has, and if you decide on a particular one that somebody has, they can press a button that says, give it to the rest of the party, and it'll overwrite theirs with yours, for example. It'll cost you 2 of the tokens that you need to re-roll your plan. So obviously you won't be able to do it all the time, but as you complete war plans, you will. So that'll be a thing. The activity experience for war plans is increasing. The base experience, and then it's going to scale with each torment level even more. So you're going to get better stuff. There's also going to be 2 new nodes. There's going to be a longer Helltide node, and there's going to be an escalation nightmare dungeon node. So, and each one giving more experience because obviously they're going to take you longer to complete. So instead of the normal Helltide of just grabbing 2 chests, it's going to have something along the lines of collecting so many cinders or whatever. Oh, here it is. Helltide War Plan progress has been changed from opening chests to collecting 75 cinders in normal through Penitent and 300 cinders in 1+. That one's a little bit different. Increased base activity of the experience gained for Infernal Hordes, which is huge because unfortunately my Infernal Hordes is my lowest out of all of these. Even if I focused on it, it's still lowest. Obviously the lair bosses are also pretty damn low on my list. I just don't get too many in the lands itself. But yeah, Infernal Hordes is bad. Let's see, obviously there's going to be PTR boosts. I'll be playing it next week. So that'll probably be my new stream. That's why I didn't download Path of Exile yet, because I want to get into the PTR. I gotta make for it. I already told you about the Herodric Cube updates for the uniques, and now the new quote-unquote mythic uniques, whatever the hell that is. Or annoying as that is, because the terminology is kind of stupid. New seasonal lair boss. They're bringing back Realm Walkers, which I don't think you were here for when you played it last, so you don't have to worry about that. But essentially, we had a season where Realm Walkers walked the earth as like events. You would go to it, you would pop the dude. You'd have to like literally follow this behemoth around for like 5 minutes until finally it stopped, and then you killed it. It opened up a portal, you went into the portal, you did other things. It was tedious just because you had to constantly walk around him. I enjoyed it, but I didn't enjoy the lull between popping him and then walking with him and escorting him. Essentially is all you were doing. You were escorting him to kill him. That was kind of annoying. Now he's just gonna pop immediately after you do like a rift thing and then kill him, so it'll be a little bit better there. But yeah, So that'll be fun. There's also a bunch of patch notes. What do we have in the patch notes? Something specific. Obviously, a whole bunch of changes are coming. Like paladins are getting some buffs across the board. Athena skill getting a buff. Advance getting a buff for duration. Clash is getting a buff. Damage buff. But it's now capped at 16 stacks of resolve for seasonal variant. Less shield retribution. Thorns damage is being reduced. Shield charge damage got increased by 100%. Base damage increased from 90 to 180. Cooldown reduced. Movement speed while charging range. Cap 1 speed. I think cap 2 speed. Quite sure exactly what that means. Base armor granted when charging from 40 to 60%. So yeah, buffs all around. Heaven's Fury. Cooldown reduced. I mean, there's all sorts of things for Paladin going on here. How that's going to affect them overall, I don't know. I'm not a Ember Crunchy theory crafter, but yeah. Whole bunch of crap changing. Let's see. Warlock changing Heroic Cube. Unique items that have their affixes modified with KL. We already know that one. Oh, this was another one that was really cool. Reroll unique power can now be used on talisman, charms, and non-ancestral items. Currently, the reroll aspect power for uniques can only be used on ancestral uniques. So, you got a 900 item like this, I could reroll the aspect power on it to 20 to 30%. But now it's going to be usable on unique charms as well as 850 uniques, or I mean technically you could do it on a lower unique, but I wouldn't suggest it. That'd just be a waste of materials. Ooh, this is also another good one. The all resist affix is being added to the chromatic tuning prism, which has the single resist on it. So you will have a smaller chance of getting plus all resist by using chromatic tuning prism now. I wouldn't bank on it, but at least it's a chance. Because I mean, you figure you have to go through every single resist first, which includes physical. So total of 6 resists, and then you have the plus all resist affix. So yeah, you've got a 1 in 7 chance to get an all resist affix through the chromatic tuning prism. This is better than the defensive one, because the defensive one can have everything from single resist to life regeneration, all that crap. Unique item updates. And it's experience rewards and tormented up. Eternal hordes. Outside quest now requires a flat cinder amount. Additional war plan options have been added for Helltide Nightmare escalations. Oh, drop rate for echoing hatred keys is going to be increased because clearly there are still people who have not gotten them. It's just... Hey, come on guys, how did you not see this coming? The fact that they haven't changed it now kind of sucks because there's still people that don't have it. Echoing hatred keys. Echoing hatred is one of the new endgame pieces of content that they advertised with the expansion, and there's still people who have not gotten a key. I managed to get one my entire time playing, and that's within 100 hours. So yeah, 100 hours of playtime, and I got one. So, that's how rare they are. And I was lucky because I got that maybe 50 hours in, I'd say. But I would count that as luck more than anything else. Don't. But there, I mean, there's people that have more Paragon than me that still haven't gotten a key. It's a fun mode, too. Yeah, it's this over here. It's the Sightless Eye. You go into that. In fact, I can go into it now. I just don't have a key to activate it. So this is the Echoing Hatred. This weird orb thingy. The Waking Call. Yeah. It's fun. I had a lot of fun with it. You just go until you get run over or you die. Because it has a meter, and if the meter fills all the way up, you fail. Or if you die, you fail. So, the wife and I came in here, we got up to 111 on our first try, I want to say. Tier 111. And it starts out at like normal difficulty and then scales all the way up into torment difficulty and beyond. So basically the pit difficulty you get past. Torment 12 obviously, which should be 100. So those keys should drop more often. Thankfully. They did say you won't see one like every few hours, but you will see a significant increase in them dropping at least. That'll be huge. Else was there? Let's see. Bunch of bug fixes. Let's see, balance updates, legendary aspect changes here and there. Bunch of nerfs across the board for various things. Yeah, like for example, this one's crazy. Listen to this. So your Air of Perdition, right? It's now being changed. It now only guarantees movement speed. So I believe that means the rest of the stats are going to be randomized. Damage reduced from 80 to 15%. Huge nerf on the damage for the aspect power of it. It also says Mother's Favor now instead steals 15% critical strike chance from other players and always retains its damage bonus. So you're going to be stealing critical strike chance from people around you. This is hilarious. The Tyrael's Might now only guarantees all resistance. Number of Divine Barrage projectiles released has been reduced. Doesn't say by how many. It says reduced. Now also grant 20% damage reduction as part of the power. So along with the projectiles, it's going to reduce your damage by 20%. Shroud of False Death now only guarantee all stats. Previously, when you would dealt fatal damage instead of the full life, gain a barrier for 100% life of your seconds. Knock back close enemies is going to occur once every 300 seconds. Now it does. You would be dealt fatal damage. Instead, you heal the full life. Gain a barrier for 100% max seconds. Its power is disabled once used until you return to town. Instead of 300 seconds, that's stupid. That is the dumbest thing. Yeah, I don't... It's just, it kind of defeats the purpose of it. Like at that point, why even have it? It's for a get out of jail free card. Get out of death free card once in like a pit or something. Or an Echoing Hatred. Yeah. Ring of Starless Skies now only guarantees attack speed. Melted Heart of Select now only guarantees plus resource generation. Godslayer Crown damage reduced from 30 to 40% to 7.5 to 10%. Crown of Lucian damage reduced from 10 to 15%. From 10 to 15% to 5 to 7.5% per attack. I think the Grandfather was on. Oh, the Grandfather now only guarantees critical strike chance. Critical strike damage reduced again from to 120%. Doombringer now only guarantees percent max life. Like, yeah, they're just destroying the normal mythics. Don't get me wrong, I'm all for, to be honest. Tempering changes Paragon. See if there's anything else here. These are all class changes. I'm not going to go. Enchantments, miscellaneous. Oh, they increased the gold cap. Not that I've ever really hit the gold cap before, but it used to be 99 billion 999 whatever. That's going to be 999 billion. Gem fragments have been increased as well from 99 million to 999 billion. Or, excuse me, 999 million to 999 billion. Pets can now be renamed. What? Can't even see their name now. Why would I care? You serious? This one's literally called the crab with a knife. I'll just leave it at that. I don't care what their names are. Bloody Billy is perfect. Like, yeah. This is the weirdest feature. Can't see your pet name, so sure. Added XeSS 3 support for Intel GPUs, added DLSS 5X and 6X support for NVIDIA GPUs. New Halo cosmetic for tower progression, blah blah. Ton of bug fixes again. User and interface experience miscellaneous. Yeah, there you go. That's the gist of the changes coming. Season 14, at least for the PTR. Obviously, there may be some tweaks after the PTR based on feedback from the player base that goes through it. We'll see. Kind of curious to play it, to be honest, because I want to know how the mythic unique stuff works. But we'll see. Let's see. You got a Torment 10 on your Echoing Hatred key. Yeah, if they drop more often, it'd be great. Like, I would love to take somebody into it. Go do it. But as it stands, it's just way too damn rare. I haven't seen another one. Is just dumb. And first time I got one, I think it was in a Helltide or something. Your viewing streak broke. 12 in a row, I'm sorry. Missed Wednesday, I think. Potentially. It happens. I would think one day wouldn't kill your streak, but I guess. So our guild is doing fairly well in sword and staff game. I think we're number 15 now in the ranking of guilds. Which is hilarious because we don't have a lot of members. But yeah, I looked at it earlier. I'm like, damn, we're climbing the ranks out of a bunch of badasses. Wow, somebody just planted a bunch of chickens. Okay. I don't know whose chickens those are. Mister Sula Sakura. Nice. Look at that, people being active in the guild. Sorts of fun people. Only have 11 people. Fortunately, I think the server itself is kind of stagnant. Fortunately. But it is what it is. It's hard to I actually have now... I have a pet. Oh, you're fine. We had a dude in there that was like AFK since he joined. And it was like 3 days and we're like, he's not coming back. We're just gonna... don't worry about slacking it. It's... The nice part about it is when you come back, like you'll have so much experience just accumulated and you'll just boost up quick. Along with materials and things. I can even run you through dungeons when you get to that stage. They literally just one-shot every dungeon and then get you to the better stuff for your loot. Oh. Because I also keep getting random messages from people. It's a fun little idle game, that's all it's really meant to be. But I've gotten my damage up to 194k now. On up to Sahel. See, where is Shamata? You are 24.4k in your damage, which is perfectly. I have no issues with it. You also went more like me, which eventually you can change to be a knight or a duelist, which is basically what you think they are. Duelist being more damage oriented, knight being tank oriented. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing to have a tank, especially for dungeons. And then the mages can turn into a sorceress or a sage, I think it's called. Sages are more support oriented, so they can heal and they have like pets that they can summon out, whereas a sorcerer is just pure damage. Think of like a mage versus a summoner in like EverQuest or whatever it was. Were they called a mage or were they called a wizard? I don't remember. I never played one. I played Enchanter. Similar stuff, but yeah, same stuff. Anyway, and then they went over. Let me see if I have it pulled up here. They had the Discord sit down, which went over a bit more of things. Oh, I got my question asked. Was the second question answered? Funny enough. I think I'm finally in double digits of questions answered now from the dev team. I asked about the new benchmark classes and builds, because previously Colin had said that they wanted every single coherent build in Diablo 4 to be able to reach 80 to 85 pit levels. And they basically doubled down with that, saying that they want every coherent build to now reach Torment 10, which is at tier 80. So that coincides with what it was previously. So 80 to 85 would still be within that range. And Torment 10 is the last thing that you need to open up everything in the seasonal journey for rewards. It is the last thing that'll give you like the player titles. These are the last 2 player titles you can get. You need to unlock Torment 10 in order to do these. Yeah, complete 85 or higher in the... Oh no, well that doesn't count. Echo of Mephisto and Torment 10, obviously. For this, and Echo of Mephisto only unlocks when you get to Torment 10, so you can't even do them before then. So, once you get Torment 10, you're good. Anything after that is just extra fluff. There's no new titles. No. The laurel itself is just a character display on your... for your name tag, or your... this thing right here. Or title. So like you can see these wings over this dude's Cunning Eater title. My wings look like these red thingies instead on my title that people see, but it goes away each season, so it's not... have it for the season, going to the next season, it's gone, you have to earn it again. But nobody cares. To be fair, the pet itself, though, rank 6. Yeah, the pet itself is rank 6, which requires Torment 5? Max, I think? Oh, Lair Boss in Torment 6, I'm sorry. Yeah. Torment 6 for rank 5 stuff, which always includes pet. So if only after the pet, all you need is rank 6 to get past. If you want the last of the titles, that's rank 8. Which again, not horrible. Easy enough to get. Anything after that is just extra materials, which I won't even use. So, go from there. Oh no. Turned off. Oops. It's fine. There we go. Mages had the pet, wizards went boom and teleported, that's right. That's right, yeah, mages was what the summoners were called in that game. Completely forgot. Yeah. You know, that game was so much fun back in the day, but I couldn't fathom playing it now. Because the time constraints on the game. Needing to group for everything, the long hours of grinding for experience. Losing experience when you died. Ugh. It was a great game for its time, though. I won't lie. And I always had that one jackhole that would come find me in zones. And I remember him because he was a human. And he was a Dark Knight. And anytime he saw me in a zone, he would kill me. It wasn't just me, though. He would kill anybody that wasn't human. Obviously, on the PvP server, you could do. But being an enchanter, there wasn't much I could do to him. He was higher level than me. And he destroyed me every time he found me. Plans to make... Oh, war plans will not be account-wide going into Season 4, but they're still listing feedback, so maybe down the line it will. I know for some people it's sucks, because obviously you make new characters, you don't want to have to plan thing over again. Which I get. I usually don't make more than one character. Let's see. So, how the new mythics will work. This might explain it better. The new mythics are a way to elevate existing unique items that are either generic or class specific to the level of mythic. There are some mythic items that just dominate the meta in terms of what they provide and the slots provided, i.e. Air of Perdition. The way the new mythics work, any existing unique item can potentially become a mythic. They can drop that way or be crafted. What a mythic means in the new world, all of its base affixes are at the max possible value. They are not greater affixes, but they have max rolls. The unique power has a boost of 30%. Iconic mythics is what we're calling the old mythics. A few of the exceptionally good ones have been brought down to be competitive with the rest. So we're fixing the problem of not everyone is slotting the same exact item because it's the answer. The new mythics be craftable or rather modifiable in the cube with affix modification, just like unique items are in Season 14. However, iconic mythics will not be able to be modified in the cube. There was a tie-in question with the new mythic uniques, will it have fixed stats or random stats? The new mythics follow unique rules, where they have one fixed base affix and 3 randomized affixes. Season 4, we are adding in the modify the affixes, uniques, and the new mythic uniques, not the iconic. Also, this change will be permanent. As the new mythic unique rarity permanent, some of the loop in terms of crafting is potentially seasonal only, but new mythics are staying. So from what I'm going to understand is they will be able to drop, uniques will be able to drop as mythics, but you won't be able to put them in the cube and make it a mythic, because that's going to be a seasonal gimmick only. So you'll still have a chance to find them season 15 and beyond. You just won't be able to craft one of them. But at the same time, the caveat being that you can only ever have one crafted mythic unique equipped at a time. So even if you made multiple of them, you'd only be able to ever equip one. You can equip as many as you want that are dropped that way, but only ever one crafted. After getting unique upgraded to a mythic, can I make it a mythic charm so I can use it together with a unique charm? And the devs basically said that's a pretty cool idea, but they're not doing anything with unique and mythic charms in season 15, but it's something they're looking at extending support for in the future. So potentially you could have a mythic unique charm in the future, but right now it's not in the works for the new mythic uniques, excuse me. I should clarify that. No changes to the loot filter coming yet. Still taking feedback. Unfortunately, I was hoping for some additional stuff for the filter myself. That's regarding what they want people to test in the PTR, which isn't big of a deal. They're changing mythic seals, which I still haven't even gotten one, but I'm not worried about it. The mythic seal that requires one less set charm has remained unchanged. However, they're changing the other two because there's 3 total mythic seals. The one that has -2 charm slots but +2 unique charms, they remove the penalty, so you no longer have -2 charm slots. It will have 6 total charm slots. And they're adding the ability to have 3 unique charms. So now you can have 3 unique charms as well as 3 set pieces, same seal. I don't know if it's going to be better or not. Seems kind of funky because the whole reason to have at least the 5 set pieces was to get increased damage for having the full set. If you're trading that for 3 uniques, that means that those 3 uniques combined have to do pretty much more damage than 5 set piece. So maybe someone will figure out something that works. Just depends. And then they said the 3rd mythic seal has been disabled while they come up with a better design for it. I don't remember what the 3rd set was, but for eternal players it's going to be whatever that seal was is going to be converted into the +2 unique charm one. Let's see. They did mention about the cube. Somebody asked, do you feel cube crafting hit the mark that you were going for? Do you plan on adding more crafting options for the future? The developer said, honestly, yeah, in the big picture, I'm really happy where the cube landed. I love the community reception, that people are playing around with it. I like that people have figured out the little tricks and interactions with other crafting systems. I think that's all very cool. Obviously, there's some stuff that has been busted with the cube. People hacking and crafting literally impossible items. Gem strength bonus is a clear outlier. It was never intended to be that strong. It was never intended to scale with 2-handed weapons. Fixed that in season 14. He didn't mention how they fixed that, but he says, hopefully there's no major outliers in power and people aren't doing really awful game loops. Try and hit gem strength bonus and not unmodifiable at the same time and hating their own lives for it. Which I get. I don't know if that means they're going to remove gem strength from transfiguration, or if it's just going to be dimmed down to the point where it's not nearly as powerful. He didn't say. So, the other part of the question, yes, we are obviously adding more crafting options in the future. We obviously just added more stuff in season 14, but you can expect Cube to be a platform for more crafting stuff in the future, and we have lots of cool ideas. Infernal Hordes is obviously getting an experience buff. He mentioned that. Fortunately, people obviously asked about stash space, questions about Mephisto, such as being able to cut away the cutscenes. No additional comments on the war plan thing, other than what I said earlier. As for Mephisto, I don't think it made it to the PTR, but we are making the cutscenes and stuff skippable. Nice. Nothing about stash tab, but they are aware of the problem. Obviously, they've been aware of the problem since the launch. They mentioned, and this was a weird one because it came out of the blue, and they mentioned fishing, but it had to be, once you got into the question, it made more sense, but when they first asked, it's like, in regards to fishing, is there anything you're doing to resolve these problems or trying to find the ideal map set? And it was like a little confusing at first. I'm like, oh, they're talking about leaderboard fishing, which means when you go into a tower or a pit, you will get a specific map set, and with that map set also comes a specific excuse me, also comes a specific type of monsters that you get. Obviously the monster type has no relevance to the map type that you get, the map tile set, I should say. Those can be two completely different things, but the idea of fishing for a pit or a tower is getting the right ones to show up, which makes it easier to get through the pit. So obviously that's going to be a constant problem. You're never going to have it streamlined to the point where everything's the same. If you did, that would be the Gauntlet 2.0, but I know what the tower is. Obviously they're aware of the problem. They're trying to make it more streamlined, but fishing is probably always going to be a problem. Somebody asked, are there any new unique charms coming in anytime soon? Also commenting that not every unique can be turned into a unique charm. Dev said, first of all, it is intended that not every single unique can become a charm. There are some interactions and some things that are problematic, and they were never built to coexist at the same time, and the mutual exclusivity is to be there. As a whole, we are looking to expand the roster of unique charms for seasons, and also generally charms and talismans as a system. We're looking to keep building on it. So nothing coming in season 14, but potentially later on. Going Hatred apparently had a bug on it where if you had a nightmare dungeon open, or a dungeon in general, and it closed, it would close the Echoing Hatred run. It's a horrible bug. I don't think they mentioned, the other question was if it's stacked, keys stacked. I'm more surprised if anybody found 2 keys within any given amount of time. But they don't stack, and I don't think there was any change to that from what they were saying. It's the fact that the keys drop more frequently. And that one's about mythic uniques, which was already explained. Oh, this one was just to clarify on the mythic unique stuff. When a mythic unique drops in the game, can we alter the cube? And they said the old mythic uniques, what we're calling the iconic myths, those cannot be modified in the cube. New mythic uniques and regular uniques can be modified in the cube with chaotic and focus. Costs an additional resource for the follow-up question was, will this persist around the season? And he says the ability to craft on uniques eternal, that's staying in the game. The new mythic rarity and the way it works, that's also eternal, staying in the game. The ability to craft a unique into a mythic unique will not be staying in the game. So that's basically it. New season means reroll a character, right? Yes. Yes. New season, everything starts back from 0 again. If you play on the seasonal realm, if you play on Eternal, no problems. Well, I shouldn't say no problems. Eternal, unfortunately, goes through a whole crap ton of things where, if there's any itemization changes, what they've done in the past is they've made the items called legacy items, and they cannot be modified by newer systems. So, although this expansion, I don't think they did that, which was kind of nice of them. Yeah, some items literally had like a red border and an X over, meaning that you couldn't do anything with them in terms of enchanting, tempering, masterworking, because you got those items before those systems were even involved. And the item affixes back then were completely not only different, but the maximum amount you could have in an item was completely changed. Or in the very beginning you could have, this is going to sound stupid, in the very beginning you could have 4 affixes on an item just like you can now. Obviously it was far more random what the affixes were. There was the joke of damage on Tuesdays, situational affixes, crap like that, which is really annoying. And there was really no way to alter them except through enchanting. So, and there was no loot filter. So it made it even worse trying to find an item because you had to sift through all this crap. Rares were just the same as legendaries with maximum affixes that could roll 4 each, so you had to look through all of your rares, all of your legendaries, and it was just loot fatigue all over the place. Then they changed it to, okay, well, we're going to take away 1 affix. Items are going to drop with 3 affixes now, but you can temper on 2 more affixes. So now you can have 5 affixes on your items total, which was a nice change. It was interesting, so it gave you a little bit more leeway. The tempering, however, unlike now where you can select a specific affix on it, the tempering itself, and I can show you here. So if we go to the Codex of Power, go to tempering recipes. So if you look at the tempering recipe for Channeler, it has 3 things listed. Previously on tempering, if you selected this, it would give you one of those randomly instead of being able to choose which one you wanted. And you only had so many reroll chances. Once those reroll chances were done, could not temper it. There's no option to give yourself more chances. It was just, you got what you got. People were pissed about this, obviously. Masterworking was also completely different. It had 12 levels of upgrades, each one increasing the percent of the item. And every 4 levels, it would give you a 25% boost, I think it was, to a random affix on your item. And that could be doubled and tripled. So if you got stupid lucky, you get 3 bonuses on 1 affix and just skyrocket it. You could reset this, but it reset the whole all of your progress and didn't give you back anything for it. So you would have to spend the obdicite, the money, and everything else, and all the whatever materials it costs to get it up to 12, see if you actually got those affixes to hit, reset it all the way back down to 0, and then try your luck again. A lot of grinding. So obviously they streamlined both systems to be much easier. And now we're back to 4 affixes again on items, with the 5th affix being tempered on. And then potentially a 6th, 7th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever on transfiguring. I think somebody said there was... somebody in the clan said there was somebody with like 20 affixes or something. Let me... They say... I know somebody set it up here somewhere. Oh. 400 GA affixes on an item. I don't even know how that's possible. But at that point, like, really? You're just outing yourself. Can't believe they had 400 affixes on an item. So stupid. Don't answer my question. No. Ed, sorry. Now you're back. Oh. Oh, you mean the new season stuff, sorry. I tried to lower the amount of ads. Wait, you shouldn't have an ad if you're subscribed to me. You're not subscribed to me anymore. It's weird. Prime members that are subscribed shouldn't shouldn't have ads. Like at all. Unless your sub ran out today. It only lasts for a month and then you have to resubscribe with the Prime thing. I know that much. Weird. But anyway, back to your original question of seasons. Seasons does means you have to reroll the character. Everything starts over from 0. Sorry about that. I didn't see your stuff about the ads until later. My bad. But yeah, every season starts over from scratch. It's like Diablo 3. Or technically Diablo 2 with its latter season. Oh. Sub in today, that's why. At least it's free with Prime. There you go. Let's say, yeah, you shouldn't get any ads whatsoever. Cannot share in your own channel. The hell I can't. Here. I will. Some yay emojis. Along with good old Total Biscuit. Miss that guy. I love Total Biscuit's videos. Sad to see the man go. At such a young age too. He was 30 something, I think. How old was he? He was born in 1984, so he was just a young dude. Passed away in 2018, 33 years old. I believe he had colon cancer, if I remember correctly. And he ignored the symptoms and everything else for way too long, and then they caught it. It was just, from what I understand, it was too late. Even with the treatments and whatnot to make him prolong himself as long as he could, obviously. But yeah, I'm still subscribed to the dude. Even though obviously he'll never have another video. Sad to see the man go. Yeah. The last video from him was like 7 years ago. The most recent one of his. Yeah. It's crazy. But you gotta take care of your health. You notice something happening with your downstairs. Get it checked. In fact, there was say the wife's side of the family. One dude found out he had testicular cancer. So at a young age, we're talking like 20 something. Like seriously young. I'm like, damn, that sucks. But I also remember Tom Green. Horrible. I never really liked Tom Green, but he had testicular cancer when he was young too, in his 30s. Testicular cancer. 28. He got testicular cancer at 28. Yeah. Which is crazy. But I do remember it, and it was the whole reason starting to check yourself that I started to do, you know, on a basis. Because of the thing that he did with it. It was just, you know, it's something you don't typically think about as a dude, you know. Like, how often do you honestly check down there for something that, you know, for the most part, unless it stands out, obviously you're not going to constantly check. So, one of those things. To mention getting up there in age, you gotta get all things checked. Not looking forward to a colonoscopy, damn sure. So much fun. Getting old sucks. Oh god. But it is what it is. Can't wait to have something shoved up my pooper. Ugh. Horrible. But better be checked and found nothing wrong than the alternative. Not being checked and something going horribly wrong. So, is what it is. Oh, we got new games. Say, oh, don't know if you've gathered your Epic Games yet or not. You're procrastinating on that one hard. It's better to get it done with than over with, I would say. You don't want to procrastinate too hard on it. I mean, I get it. No man wants to go through that crap, but you gotta think of your loved ones. Do it for them, if not for you. That's how I see it. Like, I don't want to get it done either, don't get me wrong. But, yeah. So much fun. Cinderia game. Cinderia. Doctor is giving you a referral for the Roto-Rooter treatment. Yeah, I bet. It's like a little roguelite. Oh, I'd get behind this game. Called Cinderia. It's in early access. It's 18 bucks. It had a girl with it's like a throwing chain weapon. It also has a girl with a giant cannon. Let's call it a hand cannon, but she's literally just holding this cannon with two hands and just shooting people. Tristana. It's like Tristana from League of Legends. Similar. Looks like they had a mage chick summoning an ice wyvern. Did deal damage? Oh yeah, I'd get behind this game. 20. Very cool. I'd play that. I think it's co-op maybe? That's your... No, maybe not. I just see two of the same characters in a spot, but they're not actually fighting, they're just... Oh, never mind, that's NPC, I'm guessing. He gets turrets? Oh, yeah, that's fun. Cannon chick gets turrets. I don't want to play this game. Damn it. Another great game that I got to play when it was on the Xbox Game Pass when we still had it was Expedition 33. Stupid fun game. Tough though. If you're not used to... What is it? Real-time... What are they called? You know when you get attacked and you have to press a button in retaliation to either parry or do extra damage kind of stuff. So that was a little bit of a learning curve. It wasn't horrible, and obviously there was an easier option if you wanted to just go through this stuff, but great game. Obviously it won Game of the Year. Rising had an update. What did Rising have? Bug fix it. Interesting. I'm not even paying attention to the game anymore because sadly I'm done with Diablo, but I did want to go over the stuff for the PTR coming. I've done. If anybody obviously has any questions about it, I will try to answer in the best of my capacity. Obviously I don't know everything, but I do try to keep up to date with the game. as much as I can. Doop. Yeah, don't forget your Epic games. I think there was one for Steam. Oh, Drift 86, not, you know. Lone Star looked pretty good. Calico, I got it, but I doubt I will ever play Calico from Epic. No offense to that game, it's not for me. I can already tell you. I mean, I have so many Epic games. It's the worst part. And I've barely played any of them. Just not enough time in the damn day to play all these stupid games. I mean, I still have 800 Steam games. As horrible as that sounds. See, how many Steam games do I have? 832 Steam games owned, 718 DLCs owned. That is how much crap I have on my account. Steam replay for 2025. Oh, that's right. The Steam replays. My Steam replay for this time around probably won't be as good because I didn't play a lot of Steam games. 80s 2 I played the crap out of though. That was super fun. I gotta get back to that. And then I've been playing Enshrouded for a decent amount. 77 hours in that already. What else have I been playing? I don't even remember. 80s 2 was definitely the big one. Oh, Split Fiction we played. Super fun game. A little bit less sadistic than It Takes Two. I don't know if you played It Takes Two, or if anybody here has played It Takes Two, but it was wrong on so many accounts. It was messed up from a story standpoint. Gameplay wise, it was great. Story wise, it was like, what is wrong with these people? Good lord. But yeah, spoiler warning for anybody who hasn't played Takes Two. Please feel free to mute me or click off channel. There is a part in the game, and the whole story, and you can find this anywhere, the whole story revolves around a couple that is going through separation. Essentially, I want to say it's leading up to divorce. And obviously there's a child involved. The child doesn't want them to be divorced. And I think the child makes a wish of some kind. I don't remember exactly how it all happens, but the man and woman, the wife and husband, get turned into dolls, like miniaturized dolls of themselves. And they have to find a way to get back to normal. But yeah, I think the child made a wish and it turned them into it, so that way they would get back together. And the story is supposed to be about them getting through their issues and figuring out a way to get back. Unfortunately, in the beginning, it's less about them getting through their issues as a family, and it's more about, okay, we need to get ourselves back to normal. We need to get ourselves human again. What this entails is a masochistic torturing of their child to the point of, and again, spoilers, there's a point in the game where they come up with the idea that they need to chop off the head of one of the daughter's stuffed animals to get her to cry, which is just horrible. Because they think the tears of the daughter will reverse what's happened to them and turn them back into humans. And you go through that part of the story and it's just like, oh my god. First of all, sadistic. Second of all, why would you ever want to make your child cry? That is just horrible on any level. And the worst part is the game goes through with it. It's not even, you know, you don't even have a choice in the matter. You don't get to tell the characters this is wrong. It's just something that happens in the story. Like, you have to go through this to advance the story. It's like, what is wrong with you? What kind of parents are you? And then, of course, magically, it has a happy ending at the end. Parents get back together, they solve their quote-unquote problems, figuring out what the hell's going on between them. But you're just like... The fact that your sense of logic led you down this path, and they were convinced that the child's tears would bring them back to normal, even though there's no indication that it ever would. They just got it in their head somehow that they had to make their own child cry. And the easiest way to do that would be to chop off the head of the elephant. Literally the elephant stuffed animal that the kid had. You're just like... Oh man. The EU parents need counseling. And not through magical means. But essentially that's what the story became. And throughout the whole thing they have like this dude following them around trying to give them advice on how to fix a relationship. And it's just, it's clearly not going in the right direction, and they're completely ignoring essentially what he's talking about for like the longest time, as typical as most stubborn people do. But yeah, it was just, it's one of those games where that stood out to me more storyline, more so than anything else. Obviously the gameplay was great, but if for nothing else, that part of the story will forever be ingrained in my head. Split Fiction, on the other hand, took a different sadistical route, but more along the lines of a dude doesn't want to give up his power, he's greedy, that kind of thing. Which is perfectly fine. I liked Split Fiction a lot, mostly for the, I would say the gameplay was far better. Story was better. In terms of not nearly as sadistic as parents try to decapitate a stuffed animal of their child. But in general, it was a better story in that sense. But both great games. In case you've never played them, obviously they require 2 people. What I do love about those games is the fact that you only need to buy 1 copy, and then your partner can play with you for free, essentially. They download the partner pass or whatever it's called. Let's see, Split Fiction. What is it called? I forget what it's called. Like a friend pass, I think, is the name of it. Yeah. Split Fiction Friends Pass. You install that on your system. Whoever owns the game, you connect to them instead. And then you go from there. For Split Fiction, it's like with It Takes Two, you choose which character you want to play as. Each one having different abilities and doing different things. So, I mean, you can play through it twice and just you select a different character each time you go through it. And you'll have a different experience because you get to figure out what the other person is doing. So it's a lot of fun. Highly recommend both games. If you have someone to play it with, obviously. Okay. I don't remember what the hell I've played recently. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, I played that a couple of years back. Amazing game. I really want to get the next one. Sale again. Sea of Stars was a great game. Path Traveler I gotta get back to. Animo was a great game. There's just too many damn games. Darkhaven. Speaking of Darkhaven, I don't know if there's been any updates on that recently. Very good post and response. BIS equality myth and chase items. What is this? We're going on the forum. Some dude posted this. I think the current team working on Diablo 4 has a fundamental misunderstanding of the concept of chase items and what BIS means and why it's a thing, instead opting for an approach of trying to level everything out to be the exact same power level. For starters, what is the best in slot item? It just means it's the best possible item you can get in that slot. That's a hard concept to grasp, but it doesn't just apply to builds. For example, let's say there are 3 different damage reduction aspects you can get, and you can only have one slot to play with and put it on. Naturally, you're going to want to choose the aspect that allows your build to get the most damage reduction possible, since builds across classes often use similar fundamental mechanics. Said mechanics often are what stack damage reduction. It's completely understandable that, for instance, every build for a class runs the same damage reduction aspect on the slot. It's just because that aspect is best in slot for the class. That class is a good way to stack it and utilize it across builds for the given season, so everyone runs it. Importantly, I don't think this is a bad thing for game design. It is a natural byproduct of maxing. If you look at players' builds from normal T10, see a far greater variety of aspects being used: damage reduction, and regeneration. Players who are trying to push the higher tier of content obviously want to squeeze as much as they can out of the numbers of the game, meaning everyone homogenized to use similar items and aspects, even if skills differ. Again, this is not really a bad thing, it's just how min-maxing works. If one aspect gives a slight edge of damage over another, everyone will slight edge. I agree with that. That's why it's called a meta. It stands for most effective tactics available. Everyone's going to conform into the same stuff for what they need to do in the game, which game is based around numbers, speed, and damage again. So that makes perfect sense. So understanding this, how about chase items? I think most would agree on the definition that a chase item is an item that is rare or hard to obtain, but when obtained is a clear upgrade to a build that uses it. The purpose of a chase item is to give players something to grind for. It's an item that is by all means strictly better than regular items. Again, this is fine and not a foreign concept in video games. And game bosses, rare drops that give powerful gear, which is generally an upgrade to almost anything else you can use, unless you have a specific other item needed. No one has complaints of such items just being best in slot because they're difficult to obtain and a way for those trying to push the game as far as it can go to get a bit more out of it. I'm just going to throw in a caveat here. The issue is there are no chase items in the game currently. There used to be. Mythics are, the current mythic uniques, I should say, are currently so common to the point where just about anybody can get what they want within a reasonable amount of time. It's not even a question anymore of if you're going to get, when are you going to get them what you want. So I think they've taken out the chase of these rare items, which was the whole point of mythics in the beginning. They were literally a lottery item, had extremely rare chance of dropping. Shaco Gate was split the community in half when it happened, and obviously nothing was done for it, which I personally didn't care about. Like so few Harlequins or whatever that dropped during Shaco Gate, that it just didn't matter. In my opinion, obviously people thought differently, but yeah, there are no chase items in the game at the moment. With the current iteration of the game, there's items that'll take you a little bit longer to get, but in terms of what you would consider chase items, I don't agree that there are chase items in the game to that extent. So then we come to mythic nerfs. Blizzard decided the reason they did this for the PTR is to prevent everyone from just using the same item across builds. Which I agree with. Myself, not the poster who's posting this. But as we've discussed here, the concept of a BIS item is always going to exist. Agreed, and is natural to loot chasing games. So the fact that, for example, Air of Perdition is nerfed from 80 damage to 15% is the incorrect way to solve the problem, because you're just shifting it onto another item and playing whack-a-mole. All items are equally underwhelming to equip. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, to be fair. To give an example with Rogue, since it's a class I am familiar with, most builds just run Air of Perdition with some running Shaco in case they need extra cooldown reduction. But now let's say Air goes way down on the damage meter. You don't fix the problem of everyone wanting the most possible damage they can get on a helmet, you just make that damage underwhelming. For example, if for instance, there's no other helmet that can give you 50% damage, then everyone will still run Air of Perdition because people will gladly take trade damage reduction for damage. There's another helmet that gets you above 15%, let's say Cal of Nameless, then everyone will instead. You aren't fundamentally fixing any problems by doing this, you're trying to patch human behavior with nerfs. Regardless if you made it so Air only gives 10% damage, even 5% damage, I suspect a lot of people will still run it. There's no other helmet that gives them that much damage. I agree with it. It's a backwards way of trying to solve this problem. In my opinion, there was a time period of this game when this actually was a solved problem, but not anymore. Skim through this. To be clear, I don't think mythics need to be made impossibly rare again. It's nice to not have to mindlessly dozens of hours just get power level. I think it should be rare enough where the game doesn't need to be balanced around everyone having them. Again, this is... You're talking about min-maxing. It doesn't apply to average player that's just not going to min-max to that level. You know? Arguably, this affects the 1% of the player base. I hate to say it. People may be upset about it because they're so used to just farming for these items now, and now they're just going to be essentially nerfed into the ground, that they're going to have to actually think about, well, do I go with this one that adds 15% or do I go with this one that adds 15%? What other stats does it add? What else does it do to make it stand out? You know, I don't think it's a bad thing. Let's see. Think back to Season 0 of the game. Mythics were these unbelievably rare items, 1 in a trillion drop, yup. Where people would actually post on the forum. They were lucky enough to get them. This was, well, understandably a little frustrating because that is just simply too rare to the point where their existence was pointless. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I considered them to be lottery tickets, and I think they should have stayed lottery tickets. I also think the problem wasn't they were extremely rare. I think the problem was there was too many of them, and we also had class-specific ones, or certain ones only certain classes could use. So, for example, the Grandfather could only be used by barbarians and necromancers, and maybe druids at the time. I don't. Druids equip a two-handed sword? I don't remember. But, you know, essentially had things where other classes could not equip them. My idea has always been nerf the mythics that were class-specific or weapons. Now they're doing now. And keep the generic ones amazing, but only have 1 of each type. So you would have 7 total for each slot in your gear, which would be helmet, chest piece, gloves, legs, and boots, followed with 2 more of an amulet and 1 ring. None of this 2-ring bullcrap. And that way, you would have these amazing items that would drop randomly. And you might see one every so seasons by yourself, but for the most part, you probably wouldn't see one, depending on how long you played. If you were more of a casual player, it's highly doubtful you would see one. But, you know, you might get stupid lucky one season and just have one drop for you, and then it'd be amazing. I think that would have been the better solution, personally speaking. These items that are really cool, you get one, amazing. Don't ever count on it. Let's see. What else was he saying? Said it was frustrating because their existence was essentially pointless. I think after a few seasons, they eventually got it right by making them just rare enough to farm for, but not easy enough that you could see it. Again, yes and no. When they started increasing the drop rate for them, they became too common. To the point where anybody that played a little bit longer during any season could basically get what they. And back when they were super rare, the only problem people had was that they wanted the items and complaining that they were powerful because such rare items should be powerful to offset their rarity. Yeah, exactly. They were stupid rare and they were stupid powerful. Conclusion: I hope Blizzard rethinks the decision to nerf and randomize mythics, iconic mythics now further so that the players still have a chase goal for builds. As it stands, if I can get the same stats in a regular item as a would normally give me, there's functionally no reason to even try to acquire them, to care about them if damage less. Why bother with the item as a chasing? Okay, and then Vanilla followed up. Let me see what it said. Best in slot items do not just represent the best option, they represent the closure of alternatives. The best in slot exists. Every player who's paying attention stops exploring and starts being. Exactly right. The problem is not that one item is better, the problem is that the existence of a clear best option makes every other option feel like answer. Completely agree. And when you feel like you are playing a wrong answer, you stop experimenting. Okay. Spot on. Chase items compound this. They do not add new experiences to the game. They gatekeep the currently approved experience behind a grind. You are not chasing something that opens playstyles. You are chasing the key that unlocks the build. Everyone agreed. Correct. So now you are copying someone else and grinding to do it. That is a worse version of copying someone else. I can agree with that. The original post defends chase items by saying rare, powerful rewards give grind for, but that is describing a slot machine, not a game. Counterpoint: Diablo games are slot machines. They absolutely are. Every single one of them is a slot machine. That is what we play for. So I get both sides. The reason I play it because of the slot machine. I enjoy it because of the originally the random aspect, something that you could build around, which was in Diablo 2. Obviously, yes, there were best in slot items back then, but to just get through the game, you know, sometimes you'd find a really great item while leveling, build around it, or add it to your current build, and then go from there with the addition of new iterations of the ARPG genre. They've transitioned from character to item progression. Or, I should say, in order to progress further in the game, you get farther away from character progression into itemization progression. So it's a completely different dynamic than when you had in Diablo 2, where items were a bonus versus a requirement. Now they are a requirement if you want to push into endgame content. Diablo 2 didn't have that. It had a clear set goal. It had an easily reachable stopping point, whereas common ARPGs do not have an easily reachable stopping point. Not at all. Time. Yeah, I know. It's Friday though. I can stay up just a little bit late. Anyway, I'll finish up Vanilla's post and then I'll head to bed. The reward being rare does not make the loot meaningful, it makes it compulsive. There's a real difference between playing toward a goal that expands what you can do and pulling a lever until the symbol appears. Play like the guy on YouTube. Yeah, that's fair. I believe to be a better... Okay, I read that wrong. What I believe to be better is a system where the path to power is wide enough that your route through it reflects how you actually play, not because it's enough that no single route closes others. Requires the dev's design. The design around interaction space, power ceilings, and I admit that is generally harder to do than tuning it down. It is extremely hard to do. I don't know of any game that currently does that, to be fair. you would have to have... Fortunately, it makes all diverse options the same. So is it really diversity if 1 plus 1 always equals 2? For example, you know, you can get to 2 any number of different ways. You can have 2 plus, you know, 3 minus 1, you know, or 4 minus 2, negative 1 plus, you know, 3. Any number of ways to reach that end goal. But the end goal is going to be the same, in my opinion, with that particular... for what vanilla is going here. It's a slippery slope just because of how you would get to that end point. Because if all roads lead to the same thing, is it really diverse? Yeah, sure, you could have, say, affixes that essentially are completely different in their wording, description, effect, but if they do essentially the same thing as these other set of affixes, you've reached the same goal just through a different method. You know, it's like, how do I put this? Good analogy for this. Say you have a target in front of you, and you have a slingshot, a rifle, and your arm. And the target is close enough to where you can hit it with all 3 options. But your only goal is to hit the target, regardless of how you do it. And each option will get you there. Some might be a little easier, might be a little harder. But essentially that's what you're doing. You're just getting to the same target at the end of the road, regardless of what you're doing. So it's basically the same thing as going for the best in slot. Obviously you might choose the rifle because it's faster, but you could just as easily throw something there and get it there within reason, you know, to the same target, or the slingshot. Might be a horrible analogy, but yeah, that's how I feel about it. Best in slot aren't necessarily bad because there's always going to be best in slot, but when everything is best in slot, nothing is best in slot because they all eventually do the same thing. It's kind of weird to think about it in those terms. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is weird to think about it in those terms. I don't mind how the current game loop plays because I am also not in slot stuff. Clearly. I go for best in what works for me right now. Slot. So, you know, my Air of Perdition obviously could have greater affixes on it. It could have better transfigured affixes. Have any number of things that would clearly make it better. But I'm not after that. I'm after what for me to get me through the seasonal objectives. And I would gladly leave grinding to people that enjoy that. And obviously not everyone's going to agree on the amount that needs to be grinded or passed to get there. Clearly. But I don't have an issue with these changes whatsoever. I think it's better to have lottery tickets in a game that is built around RNG. But to the point of obscure rarity to where nobody should ever expect to get them within a reasonable amount of time. But if you do, it's cool because you just won the lottery and now you're super powerful. And for the most part, it'll probably go to somebody that won't ever utilize it to its fullest potential. It'll probably go to some random casual dude that's playing it and it's this amazing lottery ticket and it's like, oh crap, I can get up to Torment 10 now easier. But I'm not going to go further than that because I just don't want, you know, kind of situation. As opposed to like a streamer that plays 12 hours a day, gets the item and then goes from there. You know, if a streamer gets it, obviously they're going to probably push on the leaderboard further than potentially somebody else could. But they're the grinders. They're the people that you would expect to actually get the item because of their amount of playing time. But again, I still don't think it should be guaranteed just because they played for 1,200 hours during the season. I think it'd be cool if they didn't get it during a season. Some random person got it instead. But yeah, that's my take on it. It's an interesting topic for stuff for sure. I'll give Vanilla like forums for it. Again, I may not agree with everything, but I do agree with the change for sure. Oh, definitely a like. No worries, Zach. Sorry, Vanilla, I missed what you said. Feels kinda, but man, necessary. They should give item slots to characters until they have the same amount of items. The barb, for example, give the tool belt. Yeah. So, I mean, Vanilla pulls up good points with his counter argument to the dude. You know, when we think of older games of Diablo 2, for example, there are items in that game I never really found. And not due to lack of trying, it was just they were so stupid rare that I couldn't be bothered to stay in the game for hours on end grinding to the point of a chance of maybe seeing it. And I had no problem with that. Again, though, the expectation was that you could get through all the content in the game without these items. They're just fun to haves. In games like Diablo 4, they are must-haves for those who want to get to that stopping point. And unfortunately, that stopping point is so beyond the realm in most cases, classes, and builds. People get upset that they can't reach it, you know, with any particular build. That, I think the issue isn't even face of the items or anything else. I think the issue is not being able to complete all of the content in the game for those that are striving for it. I think that is the bigger hang-up players have. I don't think it has anything to do with the items. It is a problem. It is the means, the means that justify the ends, but the end is what people are really after. It's the goal of being able to complete everything in the game that they want to complete. You have people that want to get to 150, you have people that want to top the leaderboard. These are the people making the bigger stink about it. And if they can't do that, it upsets them more. It'd basically be like telling somebody, you can set up all these dominoes, but you can't knock them over, or if you do knock them over, you can only knock over half of them. It's that feeling of being incomplete that I think gnaws away at people. They can't just let it go. It's, you know, and the argument is always, well, I paid for the content, I should be able to essentially complete everything within the game. And I agree with that to an extent, but there are also, for ARPGs in particular, it's not built that way currently. It used to be built that way. It's not anymore. At least not within a reasonable level, because now you have to copy someone's build to get to endgame content that is essentially a 150 pit. Yeah. Tricky with live service games. Yes, exactly. Because you want to keep people in the game, you want to keep them engaged and playing for, you know, longer periods of times. Obviously, metrics matter to the companies that build these live service games. You don't want somebody like me who's going to be a casual and doesn't spend money on your seasonal passes or your microtransactions. I am not your target audience. You want the people that are going to stay engaged in your game, buy your cosmetics, and repeat this process constantly. So yeah, it's a slippery slope, this type of stuff. Absolutely. So I believe that is the issue with people and the content in live service games such as this. The notion that you can't complete everything, or if you want to complete it, you have to be forced down this specific road, this specific build, these specific set of items. It takes away the choice, and it just basically says you have to walk down this path. And nobody wants to be told what to do. Clearly. You don't want to be told how to play the game. You've seen that many times in the forums, as well as anybody else. You know, it's not a matter of it's not a matter of choice anymore. It's a matter of, you know, we've seen it where it's like, oh, the devs are telling us how to play because this is the new meta build for the season. This is how things are going to have to be if you want to the top tier, blah blah blah. This is what's currently dominating the leaderboards. So now if I want to rank, I have to use this build in order to even rank in the leaderboard, kind of thing. And it takes away the fun of experimentation. It takes away the fun of, you know, being able to craft your own thing. But at the same time, what's the alternative? Allowing all builds to eventually reach that cap, you know? And if everybody can reach it, are they going to be satisfied? Because you have the other problem, the other side of the spectrum is people always want more out of these live service games. It's a constant. Go through the end game content on repeat for as long as you can, and then you get bored of it and you're asking for the next thing to come out. So if you allow all classes to get to 150, what's next? You know, kind of thing. Nobody sees it as a goal that they need to strive for. They see it as a goal that needs to be reached, and then what's the next thing after that goal? And I think that's the great divide right now between more modern games. Yes, consume product, get excited for next product. Exactly. I think that is the biggest issue with modern games right now. Is more so that divide. Is we're in an age right now where everything is at your fingertips. I mean, information is just everywhere. You can go on Google and just search something up and boom, it's right there at your fingertips. Everything's instant gratification. You order something off Amazon, get it the next day. Any number of things. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does set expectations. It sets impatient expectations. To the point where, you know, people are going to consume your content faster and faster as you go. There's no getting around it. And unfortunately, the ones that consume it faster are the ones that voice their opinion of it being not enough. Whereas casual player base aren't voicing these opinions until either much later or not at all, because they're more of a casual, obviously they're more of a casual player. They don't mind the fact that they're essentially at the end of that rainbow. You know, there isn't another rainbow to chase once you get to the end of that rainbow, because they probably never see the end of the first rainbow. Yeah, it's tough being game developer for a live service game. You're never going to win. You're never going to meet the expectations of the people that want to have their cake and eat it too. Essentially is what it comes to. I think that's the bigger issue. And they are trying. They're absolutely trying to do that for people in Diablo 4. They've been trying for, I want to say, since season 2 pretty much. And it's missing the mark quite a bit. And then the expectation is set to where you make a big change like this to nerf mythics to the ground and make them essentially on par with the new mythic unique coming out. And now people are upset They don't have a quote-unquote chase item. I still think you're going to have chase items with the new mythic uniques. I don't know how rare they're going to be, but I think you're still going to have chase items. And now you can tailor it to your specifications, which, again, are deterministic systems within reason. It's still got RNG, obviously. But, you know, it's going to be one of those things that the player base is going to be divided on regardless. It's another one of those topics that you're not going to see eye to eye with people on. But yeah. Anyway. It's my take on it. As I blathered on. I agree with Vanilla, though. I think it's important to have these kind of discussions, gameplay and things like that, player expectations or expectations versus, you know, where you see your game going. And I mentioned this in another thread that the biggest issue with Diablo 4, I think, since launch has been there's been no clear goal what Diablo 4 wants to do. The only goal that we know of is they want to cater it toward a wide variety of players. So the casuals versus the hardcore and anything in between those two spectrums. And I think that is their goal, their main goal. It creates a game that is for everyone and no one at the same time. If that makes sense. As opposed to, let's say, Path of Exile, which has a clear goal of complexity, we'll call it. For the min-maxers who love to get in the nitty-gritty of a game and spend hours in the game just having fun. By contrast, Diablo 4, you have the casual, but it's more associated to, and then they offer goals for the long-term group. But then you have that weird middle ground where you have people that are on the completionist side, as I said, where they want to be able to complete everything in the game, but not necessarily within the time frame that a person would do it, or within the same means that another person would do it. So you have that weird group in the middle that's just kind of stuck in feels probably more like a mediocre game to them, and it's not as exciting because they know they're going to hit that point where they're going to have to change their build into the meta build if they want to progress further, and that's disappointing because they want to be able to do it their way, not the way of the developers or the way of the streamers or, you know, the min-maxers kind of thing. So yeah, it's first world problems is basically what it comes down to. It's not to diminish anybody's opinion on it. Obviously, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but it's one of those issues that I don't think will ever be solved. And you have to think for what you want out of the game and what makes the game better for you. If this change doesn't make the game better for you, obviously voice your opinion about it. Leave your feedback. Decide if you want to play next season or not. I know some people have already said they're not going to play next season, but I hate to say this, but we do see that forums quite a bit for any number of seasons. You know, there's always the doom and gloom before the patch even hits, or in this case, before the PTR even hits. Obviously, they'll make tweaks accordingly based on feedback. Those tweaks probably won't be in the realm of what people really want. At least some people really want. Anyway, thank you, Vanilla, for giving me that that post. That was actually a really good post. I definitely would have missed that. But I like I said, I agree with Vanilla on certain points. Obviously, I don't think Vanilla and I see eye to eye on the particulars, but I do agree with a lot of what he was saying. I do agree with the OP on certain things. Just don't believe it's bad for the game that this is happening. I don't think the mythics were game in general. I firmly believe that. I don't think the mythics as they are currently in the game are good for the game. I think what they're turning into may not be the right choice. I think they could have gone about it differently. But ultimately, I think it's healthier for the game to not have these extremely common, like, I wouldn't even call them rare, I would just call them common at this point. I think uniques are common. You know, they're not hard to get. And they are best in slot for a lot of builds. Prayer of Perdition is used probably the most. Shroud of False Death was used the most before it got changed completely. You know, any numbers, Ring of Starless Skies, any number of these items were essentially best in slot because you just couldn't get anything better. And it's not great. It's not a chase item, that's just the item you're eventually going to get because they're so damn common now. At that point, what's the point? You know? It's not how I wanted to play the game originally. But I get it. People don't. The mindset has changed for people to want the things. Yeah. Anyway. No worries, Vanilla, I gotta go too. Have a good one. Thank you for joining my rant of gameplay. Maybe I'll snip this and make a video of it. See if people like it. But yeah. It'll allow for a little upgrade for the... Yeah. Yeah, the uniques that we're going to get are going to be better in general with Season 4. I didn't like how they changed the uniques this time around for essentially giving us the uniques with random stats. I felt that was kind of weird. The whole point of unique originally was to not have affixes that changed. I thought that was bizarre. And now they're randomized, and there's no way to change them, which made it even worse, in my opinion. But now you're going to be able to change them in Season 14, which will be better. So it's like a roundabout way to get to the same goal. But yeah, see how it goes. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Returns like 5 hours later. Anyways, have a good one, you guys. I will see you on the next stream Sunday. I don't know stream, but figure it out. Maybe Path of Exile, something else. Until the PTR comes, I will definitely stream the PTR. See you. Anyway, I am out. See you guys Sunday.